Okay, this is going to be a very, very quick video. And we are, because I want to get this up and out before the Oprah Winfrey interview comes out this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the time right now is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Battle Royale round two. This is for Prince Harry, or formerly Prince Harry, and Meghan Markle, and the Oprah Winfrey interview. Oh, good Lord. So, of course, I did like 20 minutes of analyzing these charts and then accidentally erased everything. I swear to God. Ugh. Okay, so I'm going to make this just a brief recap so I can get it up before the interview kicks off. I'm actually, as a result of looking at these charts, now I'm very excited about listening to this interview. This should be interesting. Um, and without going through all of this again, because I literally need to get this up before the interview goes out. So here's what we see. So the first thing is that this interview is not going to go the way Ms. Markle might be expecting it. Harry will benefit from this and will come out of this a much more sympathetic character, and certainly with a lot more support than he may realize he's going to get. Ms. Markle, on the other hand, may be coming out of this looking like the devil incarnate, which is kind of an extreme position, but it's definitely not. It's not going to help her cause by any stretch of imagination, and may even galvanize people to have even less sympathy for her as a result of this interview. So I'm not sure what that's about or what she's going to say that's going to cause this. But yeah, if she thought people didn't like her before, this is going to be it's on like Donkey Kong at this point. Um, Things that I would expect for Harry, I would absolutely expect matters and discussions specifically focusing on childhood and children to be face forward from his end. So this may be the very thing that he focuses on, um, and maybe why he's getting much support and sympathy as a result of this interview. Now, um, Ms. Markle, on the other hand, some interesting news that came up looking at this chart. It appears that this interview, and also with the marriage. Wait a minute. Let me start. Let me start with Meghan, and then we'll go back to the marriage. So with Ms. Markle, some of the things that are coming up with this is that it may not be this this story she's trying to tell and the message she's trying to get across is not going to go the way she thinks it is. It's actually, there's a lot of exposure that she's going to give about herself and her reasons for being in this marriage, et cetera, ad nauseum, without even realizing it. Because there's a huge blind spot here that's going to be obvious to everyone but her as soon as this broadcast airs. This is not going to help. This is not going to help. Now, with the marriage itself, you know, because the marriage, in any relationship, the marriage, it becomes a third entity, right? Because there's you, your partner, and the marriage. You know, that place where the two of you come together and act as a team or a unit. So in the marriage chart, this does not show really positive prognostication. Again, and it's the same thing, I feel like this interview is going to expose, without them realizing it, a lot of the handicaps or issues in the marriage that they thought nobody was able to see. Like, it will be literally laid bare and obvious to everyone where the problems in the marriage are. Also, you know, and again, the two big topical focuses for the marriage, as far as this interview is concerned, is going to be the media and journalists, and also second ring relationships. So what I mean by that is, you know, you have your primary family, right? Brothers, sisters, mother, father, and children. And outside of that ring of people, you have your secondary ring, which would be aunts, uncles, cousins. So my suspicion is, for whatever reason, if I'm looking at the chart correctly, the aunts and uncles and cousins around them will become a significant portion of this interview. This also could theoretically include step siblings. So step siblings, especially if you don't live with them, would be second step or second ring relationships. I don't necessarily think this is going to have anything to do with the brother or his wife, not or the sister-in-law. So I would look for that. And also with Mercury and Uranus and some other stuff going on here, I also expect that there's going to be some exposure about how, I don't know how this is going to work. or if they can even get away with that, but there's some kind of exposure about the royal family and the international dealings and relationships with people outside of the UK, which would be very dangerous territory for anybody to get involved in. So I could be completely wrong about that. So let's see what happens. Also, the last thing I just want to point out, and then I'm going to post this so it goes up so I can go watch the interview too, is money issues. Money issues are going to be a big problem, and maybe the driving factor for this interview. So I'm not completely sure how this stuff works, but I'm pretty sure they get paid a very handsome sum for giving interviews and stuff like that. So financial insecurity would definitely be, looking at these charts, a driving factor in why this interview is suddenly coming up, which is unfortunate because I don't think that it's Harry that is feeling financial insecurity looking at these charts. I believe it's Meghan. So Meghan may feel like they're not, like Harry's not able to carry his own weight, or they're, struggling financially. Although I suppose, how much you're struggling financially depends on what you need to have a basic, simple life or whatever. I don't know. But so money issues, money insecurity is driving the action of taking on this interview and participating in this, which is unfortunate. So, the thing about it is, obviously, we've got some Uranus stuff happening here between the charts, and Uranus is the truth bringer. But this is also not, Uranus is also very sudden and unexpected and not planned. Uranus is very spontaneous. This interview was absolutely planned, prepared for, scripted, premeditated. This was not an unexpected blurting of the truth that you expect with Uranus. This was calculated, this was deliberate, and this was intended, and it was planned for. That's Saturn. So the moon in the interview chart transiting or crossing over the Saturn of the marriage chart also indicates that there is definitely because Mercury and Uranus are involved in this configuration, a calculated risk involved here. I do not think this is going to pan out the way it is expected. And also, too, I just wanted to say, Mars right now, or not Mars, I'm sorry, the nodes. The South Node is exactly conjunct Harry's Mars right now. Now, when the South Node is crossing personal planets, it tends to weaken or diminish the vitality of the planet. It's a very draining, kind of softening transit to have. With the South Node crossing your Mars, it really puts you in a weak or debilitated position. So it will put you in positions where you feel like you don't have any options, or you don't have the energy to fight for, a different result, because it's just a very depleting kind of feeling that you're working with, right? So just not having the will, the energy, or the ability to stand up and do something differently. So that's where Harry's at in this place and time. So if Harry wasn't feeling like he was hard done by before, he's definitely going to feel it now. Oh, that's what it was. Right. And the nodes are also involved with Meghan's Venus and part of fortune by hard aspect, which is showing that the financial insecurity is coming from her side. And that may be what's been driving this relationship, or not the relationship, this interview and the choice to do this interview. So whatever it is, like, there's some really unnecessary stuff that's going to be dragged out of the closets, for, our entertainment and their personal profit, which is unfortunate. Tacky. There's just things you just don't do. But, I'm not there. So, yeah, should be interesting. So let's watch the interview and see what happens. If you're interested in other charts that we've done about the royal wedding and the marriage and relationships and how astrology views relationships, and Meghan Markle and Prince Harry specifically, in the description box below will be a link to a playlist with all the videos we've done since their marriage. And they're pretty good. I like them, and they're very useful if you're learning about astrology and relationships and what astrology can reveal about relationships. But in the meantime, I'm going to end this here, and let's go watch the interview.